Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to 8 Minute Wisdom. I'm Dana Scranton. Well, today is the last episode in our mini series on your perpetual assets. And today's topic, decision. Now, I'd encourage you to go back through the prior episodes. They're all in serial order on the YouTube channel and review those. Each of those constitutes a personal asset, a perpetual asset that you own. Nobody can take it away from you. Its effectiveness and its value is strictly dependent upon you. Now, there are other perpetual assets you may own, but these are the ones that I find to be most beneficial and valuable to the entrepreneur or to the individual who wants to create a fulfilled life. So let's get right into it. Decision. There are several definitions of decision floating around out there. The popular one with many of the personal development gurus is decision means to cut off all other options except the one. I don't agree with that. And here's why. Because we live in a world where we are in a constant state of change and flux at ever increasing velocities. Things are happening quicker than they ever have in the past. So the decision you make today may have to be changed tomorrow, but it's the basis on which that decision is made that is perpetual, that is stable. And we're going to get into that. So this episode may go beyond 8 minutes, as some of them do, but it's important. My definition of a decision comes from a college professor I had many years ago. And he had a definition. The class was decision analysis, an advanced mathematical probabilistic class that taught people how to make decisions based on a combination of rote mathematics and probabilities and personal preference. The combination of the two led to a rather interesting process of making a decision. His definition of a good decision was one whereby you have peace of mind regardless of the outcome. Now, how is that possible? Well, here's how it's possible. When you make your decisions based on the analysis of your dreams, your desires, and the realistic reward for having achieved those, and you've looked at all the factors that you control, and you make that decision based on the factors that you control, then you have done everything you can to bring about that success, provided that you actually do the work, that you work the plan. And up until this point, the perpetual assets that I have described all fall into that category of you owning them and having to do the work in order to achieve that which you desire. So when you make a decision to pursue a certain path in life, like this young lady on the screen, she has multiple decisions in front of her, multiple paths, and they all lead to the future. Where they go out there, well, you can put a way marker on it and say, okay, in 5 years, this is where I want to be. And you can visualize that, you can see it. Then you can put another marker, 10, 15, 20, or 1 month, 6 months, 12 months, 18, 24, and so forth. When you establish a destination that your decision is targeted at, then you make the plan to achieve that destination. Now, there are some people who say you got to look way out and plan accordingly. There's some truth to that. But here's another one of those realities. Things, as I say, are changing so rapidly that sometimes it's better to pull in your long term. In other words, make your long term a 5 year target, not a 20-year target. Make your decisions based on the waypoints on the way to that 5 years. If you're a new entrepreneur, essentially what you want to do is create a shorter term, long term plan. For example, at the end of 1 year, I want to have achieved this list of things. And say, I will achieve these list of things. That's the other personal development guru approach, which is quite valid. And then you develop your plan and develop those perpetual assets around that 1 year journey. Now, when you come upon that 1 year journey, before you get there, You will begin the planning process for the next leg beyond that. But in doing this, you are making a decision based on something that has far greater visibility for you at present. In other words, you can see out 1 year or you can see out 6 months and have a much better personal preference of the things that you believe and want to do to achieve that particular objective. But you have to make a decision to do it. That decision incorporates all of the prior perpetual assets that you must develop, work on, focus, have enthusiasm for, put in the time. You can go back and look at those and add them all up. That then is the basis of your decision. When you make that decision, you say, okay, this decision is based on my understanding, my personal commitment to myself, that I am going to grow these other personal perpetual assets on my journey to that 1 year target or the 6 month target. If you're beyond that level of entrepreneurship, go ahead and hang out that 5 or 10 or 20 year. That's okay. The other approach, don't put a timeline on it at all. Put a number, put an experience. Your decision does not need to be time-based. It can be based on achieving a certain level of fulfillment, happiness, joy. It can be based on contributions to a certain organization or entity. It can be based on any number of things. It's up to you to make that decision. So don't hang time on it as the only one. I use time because that's the most popular. That's the one that many people seem to gravitate towards. Why? Because it takes them off the hook for having to make the decision about the other things. And look, you don't want to get decision paralysis. Like they say, this young lady on the screen has multiple decisions in front of her. If you decide that you are going to create a fulfilling life of happiness and joy, and you define that in a certain way, then that opens up the possibilities for you to say, therefore, I am going to achieve it by taking a path where either A, I live my life on my terms during the journey, or B, I put my nose to the grindstone and I have no pleasure, no fun, no life until I get to that milestone. Okay, those are two extremes. My personal choice, choose the path where you have a life. Choose the path where you can enjoy the experiences that you personally create along the way to the ultimate objective that you seek. You see, when you do that, then your decision, regardless of how it turns out down the road, is one of those where you can have peace of mind. But here's the kicker. Don't be lazy about it. Don't engage in all the joys and experiences of life without understanding and practicing those things that are leading you to the greater stage of life. It's not like you need to get all tense over it, but this is part of your decision. Do I have a life during my journey to a greater, more fulfilling life? Or do I not have a life, put my nose to the grindstone, and when I get there, enjoy it all? Like I say, I advocate the former. I advocate having a life, doing the things that are enjoyable, fulfilling, and creating experiences and make you a greater version of yourself as opposed to somebody who just gets worn down with the grind. Because I'll tell you, my experience, not everybody has the horsepower to put their nose to the grindstone and just keep focused on the line in the middle of the road until they get to the destination. That's a tough row to hoe. And I've seen more people quit on that path than I have on the alternate path of taking the side roads on the way to the journey to see what else is out there. And why is that important? Because when you do that, you all of a sudden recognize the other possibilities that are before you, the other resources, the other ideas that can help you to get where you want to go, enjoy it, and by the way, be of greater benefit to the people that constitute your world. But a decision has to be made, and that decision is a contract between you, yourself, and that target that you're moving towards and the beneficiaries of you having hit that target. See, very seldom are we the only beneficiaries of our success. Someone, many someones along the way are going to benefit for you having been part of their life on that journey. When you grow and you become more, you can't help but radiate health, wellness, fulfillment, and joy to other people, however infinitesimal that might be. That's part of who you become. You become an influencer simply because you're on a path to something that you desire, that is fulfilling. It's your goal, and you're not dragging people with you. You're not knocking people out of the way to get there. You're experiencing them on the way. You're experiencing life on the way. That's the modern approach. That's the life-based lifestyle, the life-based entrepreneurial journey that allows you to enjoy life while creating a greater life. All begins with a decision. So that's the episode today. Decision is very important. And in fact, it is the one thing you don't want to do too early. Now, I know people who say, I've got this dream and I'm going to make a decision right now. And that's great because I have known people who made wonderful lives doing that. But oftentimes, the decision is based on a very narrow, sudden emotional burst. And when that wears off, the decision wears off. So be mindful. Look at your dreams, your desires, put them in the context of what that means to you right now versus out into the future, the life you want to lead, the things you want to experience, the person you want to become. That's purpose, vision, identity. Look at it realistically from the point of, does it make you enthusiastic? Does it create energy within you? Is it something that you can put your attention on, that you can focus on, and not like like I say, not like you're focused on the line in the middle of the road and everything else just goes by and you don't see it. It's not what I mean. What I mean is you focus and you apply yourself to achieving that which you want and achieving the life that you wanted along the way. Can you put in the time? So all of these things are part of your decision. When you sit down and realistically evaluate each of these assets that we've described on the way to today, and you understand them, and you put them in the context of you personally, that they are your assets. Your identity is you, not somebody else's. It is your journey, not somebody else's. Your objective when you get there, it may change along the way. You may get to a place where you decide, I think I want to go over there. And that's just fine. That's a decision. But it's not a decision that was based on an inadequate amount of information. When you actively examine each of these perpetual assets and you look at what they do for you and what they do for the world around you, you make the commitment to invest in them. And look, the investment is you. You're not putting money into these assets. These perpetual assets are all about you, the things that are inside of you that you can grow and use and apply and share. All of that comes forward to a decision. So when you make that decision that you're going to undertake a journey, where that journey leads you, the outcome of that journey, you're going to be in a state of peace, regardless of what that outcome is, because you applied those assets with intention and intelligence and deliberation, and you've enjoyed the journey along the way. You have, in fact, achieved micro successes all the way to the point where you conclude that either A, I have reached my milestone, or B, I missed it, but I had a lot of fun on the way. So I'm just going to redefine my life. I'm going to just redefine, replan, and keep on going. That's the life that we want to create because it is independent of all the stuff going on around us. When we don't allow that to influence who we are, what we do, what we want, then the possibilities open up. And we are not constrained by the institutions of society that want to control us. We are instead entrained by the institutions of society that want to support us, to be part of our journey, to take advantage of who we are becoming. That's a different story. Well, that's the episode today. Thank you for hanging with me in this mini series that we just did, episodes 1 through 7. And we'll see you out there on that plane, on that frontier of possibilities and all the fulfillment that that can bring. So we'll see you in the next episode.